You know, you don't need to be Irish to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Not at all, but it always helps to know someone with Irish heritage when it comes to cooking up a great dish to mark the occasion. And this morning we're getting some advice from John Cosgrove. He is a local podcaster and MC, and he also happens to be Irish. You were born and raised in Ireland.
I was,
and you moved
yes.
to Minnesota back in 1999.
Wow, you guys have done your research.
Yeah,
Well,
and thank you
It's
for
like
being here.
It's like I've been here
Let's wrap it
before. And I obviously didn't offend enough people that I got invited back this year.
You're on really a thin line here. But
Yes.
we'll hopefully get through this.
I got a hard time last year that I didn't actually cook anything last year,
Okay.
so we actually have something cooking.
What are you
instead.
cooking?
Okay, so I'm from a part of Ireland called Fermanagh, which is in the north. That's why I'm wearing this shirt today. They don't get a lot of press, so to be on American TV, it'll probably help them.
That's gonna be huge.
Tracy Concrete is not my name. That just happens to be the sponsor. They're getting free sponsorship, I guess.
How about that?
Yeah.
So everywhere in Ireland, obviously, we eat a lot of potatoes, and every area or every region has their own mashed potato variation. And in my part of Ireland, Fermanagh, our dish is called champ, which of course is a very positive affirmation of potatoes. But I have to confess that the mashed potato mix that I found to be the best came from a French friend of mine. He's a chef, so I had to listen to him. He has his name.
I'm sorry. You
Cut his
have
mic,
no
it's over.
business being here.
Well, anyway, a shout out to Vincent, because what he explained to me was because of the different starch levels on different potatoes. So in red potatoes, there's less starch. So if you mix them with russet or golden potatoes, 80-20, he said, is the best mix.
Oh.
It provides a smoother texture because everybody likes smooth mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want lumps.
The other trick is, and this isn't a perfect demonstration, but is to boil them slowly.
How do you do that?
Well, you turn the heat down, obviously.
But for how long would you like?
So then it's going to take longer to cook it. So if you normally have it up at full crank, maybe have it at half crank. That way the starch won't come out of the potatoes. They'll be less starchy, and you'll know by looking at the water if it's clear as it's cooking. So the potatoes again will keep the starch in them and keep that nice starchy potato flavour. And of course, once they're cooked and you're mashing them, so this is where the champ differentiates from regular mashed potatoes. Lots of butter. You warm up some milk, mix that in. Don't put the camera in here. There's no milk in here.
Okay, just imagine if you will.
Imagine if you will. Och, bon, yes.
Well, stop tipping it over and giving away your secrets.
Some chopped spring onion.
Okay.
And of course Irish butter, which now is available everywhere. I mean, even in the local store in South Minneapolis.
And will you explain what's different with Irish butter? Is it like a higher fat content?
I'm
What's the
going
story?
to try not to offend people from Wisconsin, but then again, why would they be watching a Minnesota show? Would be my question. There's rumours that they feed their cows in Wisconsin with Skittles. In Ireland, we feed them with grass.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
So grass-fed cows produce creamier milk.
Sure.
So the difference with Irish butter and American butter is the colour. You'll see Irish butter is more yellow, and it's creamier because they're grass-fed, and it's imported directly from Ireland. And how much Irish butter you put in your potatoes depends on how much you love the people that you're cooking for. Because the more butter you have, the more you love them, because we all know butter is good for you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned, you gave us some tips in making them creamier.
Yes.
What about the lumps? Because some people, you know.
So I like this
lumpy?
masher here because it's a double.
Oh.
So that will give you a good start.
So you don't use a mixer? Is that like
then
faux pas?
there's too much cleaning up.
Okay.
You know, so there's this hand, and then obviously if you've got a whisk, that'll help as well.
Okay.
But with the milk, warm the milk up. That's
a good one.
Okay.
Warm the milk up, even mix the butter in with it, then put it in the potatoes, then put in your spring onion. And, you know, this is the magic of TV. Here's one I prepared earlier, and it should end up looking like this.
Fantastic.
So, obviously, there's a little bit of colour. Now, we know it's St. Patrick's Day, and you're going to be having this with your corned beef.
Of course.
Of course, and just a little note. Corned beef is an Irish-American tradition, not an Irish tradition. Because when the Irish immigrants came over, they couldn't afford the luxury of steak or roast beef. So they went down to the local Jewish delicatessen and got corned beef, and hence that corned beef and cabbage tradition began.
We're learning so much
I know,
today.
I
We
know.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I can just
Did you start your day with Lucky Charms? The only way to start this day?
Sadly, my children are at the age now where they have the autonomy and the audacity to have their own choices for breakfast. No longer oatmeal and honey. Yes, they had Lucky Charms this morning. And the colour of the milk
Yeah.
afterwards kind of tells me that I'm not quite sure that I'm being a good parent from a nutritional value.
No, you're good.
Yeah, one
You're
day.
good.
It's just one day.
Well, it's just for one day. And then, of course, they had donuts with little shamrocks on them as well.
Well, now it's
and
going
they're
downhill for you.
They're floating off into the
Yeah,
distance to school. Oh, look, this is...
Just like
full-on
the pot
American,
boiling
full-on
over.
Minnesotan.
yes, this is so
You've
appropriate. This is
gone
great.
too far.
Okay, earlier in the show, we took a live photo, or not photo, but a live video from the Temple Bar
Yes.
in Dublin.
Yes.
And you've been to this place. You said this is a very touristy part of Dublin.
Well, yes. I mean, most tourists, when they arrive in Ireland, they're going to arrive in Dublin. Temple Bar is a very busy, well-populated pub area. There's a lot of pubs per square foot there, so they're going to go there. So obviously the proprietors of those establishments know that tourists are coming, so everything's built for them there. If you maybe go like 50 miles outside Dublin, you might get a more traditional Irish
Authentic
pub.
experience.
And if you go even further north to where I'm from, they probably wouldn't even raise their head to say hello to you, but then you're really getting
You're
the
talking like
authentic.
Belfast? Or
Yeah, just west
Ooh,
of Belfast.
yeah, I know.
So, but you know, this time of year, a lot of Americans go to Ireland because it's traditional. But on the way in here today, it felt more like December and January. I mean,
Yeah.
it's my first white St. Patrick's Day in 25 years.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's really
it's
fun.
really
Great.
Minnesota now.
More potatoes will keep you warm.
There you go. That's the
I love
answer.
that.
Thank you for joining us. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Great.
If you want to find John online, you can find him at cosgrovepresents.com.